Welcome again. In this lecture, we will look into the next step we have create batch input data session. So let's execute that one. So here basically you can select what should be the name of this batch input session. So I will just keep that same bank data load. And if you wanted to keep the batch input folder after processing it, then you will select that option here. I'm going to select that here. So obviously it will help you to review your batch session, what was posted, how many transactions were posted, and obviously for the future reference too. So I'm gonna select that and then I'm gonna execute that. And now you can see that a pop-up appears. It says one batch input folder with 9 transactions created. We will click on continue. So now the next and last step in this LSMW is going to be uh, running batch input session. Like whatever the session we have created, if we will execute that here, uh, uh, it will take you to that screen, which is the T code is SM35. Like let me take you there, but I just wanted to show you that screen before I execute that step over there. So if you go to T code SM35 right here, you get to that screen. You can see that this batch input session is created here. There is another way you can go to your batch input session. How you go that? You go to system, services, and then you go to batch inputs and session. So the T code is SM35, and this is the menu path where you can go and look into your sessions, whatever you have created. So let's go back to that step right here. And once I will execute that here, you can see that it takes me directly to that screen. But obviously you are not seeing any other sessions here. All you are seeing is the session specifically which was created by this LSMW. So let's select this batch input session and process that. Here you have three options. Either you wanted to process foreground, like you wanted to process that real time, like in front of you, or you wanted to just display the errors only. Like if there is any error in this data, then just display me the error. Otherwise, I don't want to see that. And background. So obviously, normally, if there is a small amount of data, either you can select process or for process foreground or display errors only. But personally, I suggest using this option because you don't want to go through each and everything on your batch input session. Why you want to look at that when you know whatever we have in your data file and what is going to be processed. So let's process that with the display errors only mode. And now you can see that because these were only 9 records, but you can see that how fastly your data was created in the system. If you click on exit batch input, it will take you back to your SAP easy access screen. If I click on sessions overview, it takes me back to that screen where I can click on that and go to the log of that session, and I click on that here. Here you can see that what was like the summary of my batch input session. Like you can see that these were the bank keys created. You can see that 9 transactions read, 9 transactions processed, and there is nothing was errored. So you get all the details of this session right here. And here basically you can go here as well, where you will get some more information about like what were the transactions, what were processed. Like you select your session and you go to analyze session here, and here you will see that how many screens. As you know, like when we are creating the bank key, we have 2 screens. So 9 transactions, 18 screens, and everything thing was processed. And here you can look at screens what it has been gone through. You know that like we have 110 and 100 screen. And here you can see that here is kind of a little bit more fancy log for that batch input session. So if you go back out of that and go to that LSMW, you will see that your like you are all good, your session was processed, and all the details of your sessions are right here where you can come and look at any point of time. Like because the session name is given that with the name of that session, that's why you are not seeing any other session. If I will remove that and if I will click uh, if I will just enter star and press enter, you can see that you will see some other batch sessions in the system as well. One more thing from the real-time perspective, as a consultant or manager or business user you are working, you should be aware of, like, these batch input sessions have a limited amount of life. So it's vary between companies to companies how many days they wanted to keep the log of their batch processed batch input sessions. So it's not necessary it will stay there forever, but maybe for certain number of days, like it vary from 15 days to 45 days, what I have seen so far in real time companies, how long they basically keep the batch input session data for their systems, because obviously it takes a lot of capacity and on the processing side, and obviously they don't want to overload their system because it impacts the performance side too. So it was all about in this lecture. I will stop here and I will see you in our next lecture.